In a massive corporate shakeup, Verizon is reportedly planning its largest ever round of layoffs, with about 15,000 jobs on the line. That's a staggering 15% of its entire workforce. This news comes just weeks after former PayPal CEO Dan Schulman took the helm at the telecommunications giant. So, what's driving this drastic move, and what does it mean for Verizon, its employees, and its customers? Let's break it all down. First, let's look at the numbers. The layoffs are expected to happen as soon as next week, primarily targeting the company's non-union management ranks. Sources suggest that more than 20% of this specific workforce could be affected. Alongside the job cuts, Verizon is also planning a significant shift in its retail strategy. Around 180 corporate-owned stores are set to be converted into franchised operations. This move signals a fundamental change in how Verizon manages its physical presence and interacts with customers on the ground. The market reaction to this news was immediate. Verizon's stock saw a modest bump of about 1%. While that might seem small, it's noteworthy considering the company's stock performance has been sluggish for the past 3 years. Over that period, Verizon shares grew by only 8%, while the broader S&P 500 skyrocketed by nearly 70%. This underperformance has put immense pressure on the company to make bold changes. When asked for a statement, a Verizon spokesperson declined to comment, leaving the public to rely on inside sources and analyst interpretations. So, why is this happening now? The answer lies with the new CEO, Dan Schulman. Schulman, who was a Verizon board member for 7 years before becoming CEO in early October, is known for his transformative leadership at PayPal. He's stepping into a challenging environment. The U.S. wireless market is maturing, meaning subscriber growth has slowed down significantly. Competition is fiercer than ever, with rivals like AT&T and T-Mobile US constantly vying for market share. Consumers are also becoming more cautious with their spending, making them less willing to shell out for premium wireless plans. Schulman has been very clear about his intentions. Just last month, he stated that Verizon needs aggressive change. He talked about a cost transformation and fundamentally restructuring the company's expense base. His vision is for Verizon to become a simpler, leaner, and scrappier business. This isn't just about cutting costs for the sake of it. It's about re-engineering the company to be more agile and competitive in a tough market. One of the most interesting parts of Schulman's strategy is his focus on the customer. He has explicitly said he does not want to hike prices. Instead, he wants to be more customer-focused. He criticized the company's previous reliance on price increases, calling it an unsustainable strategy without corresponding subscriber growth. This is a significant pivot for years. Verizon has positioned itself as the premium provider with the highest price points in the sector. While this strategy built a reputation for quality, analysts have long questioned its sustainability as competition intensified. This brings us to a key dilemma for Verizon: customer retention. The industry term for customers leaving is churn, and stopping this bleeding is Schulman's top priority. But how do you keep customers from switching to cheaper competitors? One common tactic is offering subsidies on expensive new smartphones to lock customers into new contracts. This is an expensive strategy. As one analyst, Craig Moffett from MoffettNathan's, pointed out, the big question was always how Verizon planned to pay for these retention efforts. Now, with the news of 15,000 layoffs, we seem to have our answer. The cost savings from this massive restructuring could be redirected to fund these expensive customer retention programs like handset subsidies. However, Moffett raises another crucial question: will it be enough? Will the money saved from these cuts actually be sufficient to offset the high costs? of keeping customers loyal? That remains the multi-billion-dollar question. It's a high-stakes gamble. Verizon is betting that by becoming a leaner organization, it can free up the capital needed to fight more effectively on the front lines of the subscriber wars without having to raise prices. It's also important to view these layoffs in a broader context of Verizon's recent history. This isn't the first time the company has downsized. Over the last 3 years, Verizon has already cut nearly 20,000 jobs. Just last year, it announced a voluntary program that reduced its workforce by 4,800 employees. And back in 2018, another voluntary exit program saw about 10,400 employees leave the company. At the end of 2024, Verizon had about 100,000 U.S. employees. This new round of 15,000 cuts is the largest and most aggressive yet. These internal changes are happening alongside massive external investments. Verizon has been spending big to secure its future. In 2021, it spent a colossal $50 billion to acquire crucial C-band spectrum for its 5G network. It also made a $20 billion deal to acquire Frontier Communications and spent another $6 billion to buy the prepaid mobile provider TracFone Wireless. These are huge investments aimed at strengthening its network and expanding its customer base, particularly in the prepaid market. So, what does this all mean for the average person? If you're a Verizon employee, particularly in a management role, the coming weeks are likely to be filled with uncertainty and anxiety. A 15% workforce reduction is a massive event that will impact thousands of families and careers. If you're a Verizon customer, the picture is a bit more complex. In the short term, you might see more aggressive deals and promotions as the company doubles down on customer retention. Schulman's commitment to not raising prices is also good news for your wallet. However, the move to franchise more stores could change your retail experience. The quality of service might vary more from store to store, depending on the individual franchisee. And in the long run, the question is whether a leaner and scrappier Verizon can still maintain the network quality and customer service it has been known for. For those affected by these layoffs, this is undoubtedly a difficult time. Navigating a job loss can be incredibly stressful. It's important to remember that resources are available. Reach out to career counseling services, tap into your professional network, and don't hesitate to lean on friends and family for support. Your mental health is a priority, and seeking help is a sign of strength. In conclusion, Verizon is at a major turning point. Under its new CEO, the company is making a painful but decisive move to slash costs, restructure its operations, and pivot its strategy from price hikes to customer retention. The goal is to become more competitive against rivals like AT&T and T-Mobile in a saturated market. But the success of this plan is far from guaranteed. It hinges on whether the cost savings can truly fund a successful fight to keep its customers, all while navigating the internal turmoil of its largest ever layoff. The entire telecommunications industry will be watching closely to see if this gamble pays off. What do you think about Verizon's new strategy? Is this a smart move or a recipe for disaster? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more deep dives into the business world. See you next time.